What's up, guys? It's Wayne here with Michael Talks Football. Michael is joining us really late at night for him, but he's been really generous coming on and telling us a little bit about HJK. How you doing, Michael? How are you?
Good. Very excited for the game tomorrow. Probably the biggest game in Hoiko's history, I would say.
Really? Wow,
Yes.
it's an honor then to play
This is
one
a
of
massive game for. Go ahead.
as we spoke about in the pre-match or just before we got on set. Finland Nordic. So I was about to say in Scandinavian history, this must rank up there, but in Nordic football, I'm glad that Roma can be a part of it. Hopefully, of course, in Roma's favor, but we'll see. But Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself. I was checking out your YouTube, and you've got an awesome page, a ton of content. If you can go through that for us.
Yeah, so I run a YouTube channel called Michael Talks Football. Even though I'm a Hoiko fan and a Liverpool fan, I just love the game of football. I watch Bundesliga, watch La Liga, absolutely love the Serie A just because of the madness of the Serie A and the quality. Maybe it's not there anymore, but it's slowly getting better and better. Now you see now Serie A evolving into a more attacking phase, and yeah, I just try and post a lot of content, talk about the Conference League, which you guys won, of course, last year. Talk about the Europa League and the Champions League. So yeah, just my YouTube channel is basically a home for all football lovers, not just for one club.
Excellent. And he's joining us, of course, from Helsinki. And you hit that on the head there. I see that there is a progression, a step by step in Italy. It's not like this renaissance and all of a sudden everything's better. But you see managers like Sotil and if I could take coming over from Shakhtar, we've got our manager there, De Zerbi, who's been playing some really awesome Italian football. Of course, he's left since then, but I think he'll be back in Serie A sooner than later. So some of these talents coming back to the league, as well as the ones that come up from Serie C, Serie B, and now they do play a different type of game, and it's awesome to see. So before we do get started to the questions, just want to say Michael was really patient in the build up to this because I was like going through the quotes from Mourinho's press conference, and I was like, just hold on, like 1 second, please. And of course, it's late, and I got stopped by the cops and the gasoline workers outside my house who needed to work on my it's been a crazy type of day. So Michael's been really patient. But anyway, yeah, definitely check out his page. And it's Michael Talks Football down below as I've got the banner going there. And we're going to be talking, of course, about HJK. But before we do that, also, what's one player from Liverpool? Who is it?
One player, Luis Diaz. Absolutely
Luis
love the
Diaz.
player.
Yo, I couldn't. How good is this guy? Like, I saw that goal he scored against Napoli. Actually, of course, that was a
Mhm.
crappy game for them, but that's a pro's shot.
He's just so tenacious, and I just love his attitude when it comes to football. Never give up, and that's why I love Luis Diaz. I knew when we signed him from Porto, I was like, this guy's a ball,
Yeah, yeah, he
and he's
really
gonna
had
ball out
something
for Liverpool.
different.
Fits perfectly into what Klopp wants to do. Yeah, he's just the perfect Klopp player. So I love Luis Diaz. Everybody will say, of course, Salah, who's obviously former AS Roma player. Alisson, former AS Roma player. Alisson, I think, has been our best signing in the Klopp era. By the way, Alisson is an absolute beast of a goalkeeper. So I would say Luis Diaz and Alisson are my two favorite Liverpool players.
I would agree with you, and perfect segue as we go on to Roma. Allison is so sorely missed, and after he left, it was so obvious how many points that he saved by himself, and just
Hmm.
how much better he made Roma, how he kept them in the games, and of course now he's doing it on the biggest stage for Liverpool. Um, and I've got a couple questions after reading the press conference. I'm going to go through 5 questions from Michael. And the first one here, I've got a quote that Mourinho said today in the presser. But what type of formation can we expect from HJK coming into this match?
You can expect maybe two variations. We're usually set up in a five in the back formations where our wing backs provide the width. We're either going to play a 3-4-3 or we play a 3-4-2-1 where we then have two cams in behind the striker. And they kind of vary depending on what personnel we start in the matchup. And definitely our wing backs are our attack. And but
Oh,
against Real Betis, it was very evident that we played very good football for once. Usually, when we're playing away in Europe or against tough competition in Europe, we just do the long ball tactic. Long ball towards the channel and hope to get in across. Against Real Betis, we actually kept the ball on the feet and played around Betis, which was amazing to watch. I have not seen Hoico play that well in a very long time against a La Liga side who are very good in La Liga. So I would expect that we would set up in a 3-4-2-1 where we're gonna have two cams and then hope the wingbacks provide width for tomorrow's matchup. And I think that suits well against Roma, with especially your two fullbacks maybe providing the width as well with either Zelik, Spinazzola, or if it's Zalveski and these sort of guys.
Okay, so you talk about two attacking midfielders there. Who is the key guy? Who's the guy that Roma really needs to watch there?
I would say it's our two CDM guys. They are very pivotal in the ball movement. It's this young guy called Santeri Väänänen, only 20 years old. His game has gone up in the last 2 months to an extremely good level, to the point where he was absolutely dominating William Carvalho of Real Betis last week. Could not believe how good he played. And then Lucas Lingman, who's also kind of young and getting called up to the Finnish national team. He's also a very good left-footed player. Both move the ball very well. And I expect actually a former Serie A sort of legend for us. His name is Perparim Hetema. I don't know if you've heard of him. He used to play for Kiev for many, many years. He's now back at HJK, his boyhood club. And I think he will play in the 10 role in behind Malik.
Hetemai. I had no idea he
Yeah.
was from Helsinki. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That was his first club, and now he's come back this season. And it's probably going to be, he's going to play one more season and then he's going to retire most likely.
Wow, I can remember him with the yellow kit and the blue, and it had like it was a very unique number when he was playing for them, like the
56.
yeah, the 56, and the outline. If you remember Kievo's jerseys, like the
Yes.
actual, those were so distinctive.
And then he went to Benevento, I think Benevento, if I'm not mistaken, after that.
So, yeah. I don't remember that, but I trust your word. I say yeah as if like I'm like yeah, I'm an expert on Hetemai. No, it's you. So the way that they are playing though, and this isn't one of the scripted questions just coming up, could was this realistic or could was this foreseeable 10 years ago for not just Finnish football but for Nordic football?
Well, to be honest, we actually made the Europa League group stage in the 14-15 season. So we're by far and away the best club in Finland. And that's because we have the biggest budget. And our player budget, like I told you before the stream, is 2 million for the whole squad for the whole season. So we're not we're not working on a huge budget where we're getting backed by an expensive owner, but we make some good business. And it's after we made the Europa League in 14-15, we hit a little bit of a bad patch where we didn't win the league for almost 2 seasons, and then 2019 we were completely bad. We finished fifth or sixth in that season. Then we started progressing better. We started trusting our academy more, and then last season we made it to the Conference League, and that was I think a big thing for us. Helps us with our budgets because a lot of the money for Hoiko actually goes into traveling and getting the private flights. That's a big thing for us because we pay a lot of money now to the squad and then to the traveling. So yeah, it's been a good progress for the last 3 seasons, I would say. And the main goal nowadays is just to make it to the Conference League. That's the main goal for Hoiko.
I see. So I was actually going to ask, like, why, or on modest funds, how do they stay afloat? But you mentioned through the academy. I would have never considered the air travel factoring into this,
It's a big
but
thing. It's a very big thing for us, the money, because we've gone to Czech Republic, then we went to Latvia, but we went by boat by Latvia just to save money. That's just on the
wow,
sort of budget we're working on. And
they went on
last,
boat to Latvia.
it's only about 3 hours or 4 hours of boat ride. So yeah, this is the sort of circumstances we're working on here to qualify to the Europa League.
That's wild.
Yep.
Jeez, they could make a whole story about that in itself. I would love to see like almost like I wish they had like a
Yeah.
good TikTok guy or somebody on Twitter, like a mod who could put this stuff online because those are good stories. I wish I knew more of them.
Hmm.
But that's great. So Ivan Mourinho, he says like this quote below here: "The Helsinki coach has definitely caught my eye. If a side plays with the sort of organization and identity that they do, it means that the coach is a good one." He says, "I like the team." He goes on, he says, "For me, it's all confirmation of the quality of, well, we spoke about this. It's not Scandinavian, but Nordic football these days. Well organized, the fitness and the physicality is always there." Speaking about physicality, should Romanisti be expecting a tough team?
Yes, very tough team. We are defensively very, very good, and that's been one of the main reasons why we've qualified to Europe this season. Defensively strong. We don't score a lot of goals, so I'm not expecting this to be a very high-scoring game. We will most likely, if we're going to win this game, Hoiko, it's going to be 1-0. And us to keep a clean sheet. Our goalkeeper, he's on loan from Celtic, Connor Hazard. He made some incredible saves against Real Betis, and he's been a big, big part in our success. And then we have 3 former Finland national team players: Jonna Toivio, Paulus Arjuri, and They're three former center backs for the Finland national team. They play for us now, and we have this our captain Miro Tenho, only 27 years old, but he is fantastic in the air. And they're very physical center backs, but also can play with the ball at their feet. So yeah, I think the main success for us has been our defense, and that's why we've been able to progress so far. And yes, we're very well organized, and that's the main thing with our manager Toni Koskela. He wants to be organized at the back, and we'll work our way up. Then we're not the most creative side. We keep the ball well, and be strong, but just the final decision making in the final third is lacking from us this season.
I see. So up top, interesting there. So I will say that Roma in the past sometimes they've struggled against teams that get under their skin. I hope that that attitude has changed, that they've gotten a bit more mature, especially since after winning the Conference League. And I'm actually now I'm intrigued to see how that plays out. Um,
Actually, I
so
have a question. I have a question for you quickly.
yeah,
How does Roma do against a five in the back formation? Because didn't Udinese play a five in the back formation? Correct?
yes, they did.
Yeah.
Udogie was
Oh, he's
really high
fantastic.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he plays as a wing back, but really he's more of like this. I wouldn't even call them wing backs anymore. There's got to be a new name for this position where it's just like total football, up and down, almost like a classic right midfielder or left midfielder in a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Like remember those guys like when we were growing up, those were the players who worked the hardest up and down the whole pitch. That's what these wing backs are. Um, so it depends because if they can get in between and sustain that pressure, and if HJK does not get in between the center backs and the wing backs, between Spinazzola, Zalewski, I'm not sure if he's going to start, and Karsdorp and Salik, that's the weakness. It's right in that gap. But you telling me that their striker and their attacking midfielders are not the keys of the team, I'm thinking that Roma can probably absorb their pressure and just because of quality. So you mentioned HJK has a transfer, they can spend about 2 million per year. Of course, it's very different in Rome. Sometimes in Rome, they've had to sell in order to maintain their competitiveness, but we see that that's changing now. And of course, the team has brought in so many high quality players that that's going to be an interesting subplot is the 3-5-2 versus the 5-3-2 or however HJK does tend to line up. But tomorrow, actually, it's going to be Mourinho switching to the back four. So there will still be some question marks of how does this
Okay.
team, play against that type of varied attack. Are they
Interesting. Interesting.
organized to that point? Yeah, yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. But this game is starting to look a lot more interesting than maybe just another Europa League group match.
This ain't no Zorya Luhansk or CSK Sofia. So I'm gonna tell that to the fans. I'm expecting because I can tell also by Mourinho's press conference that he understands you have to win this game. And that's kind of, I think, the good thing for Hoiko is we can go there with a free mind, enjoy the occasion, but understand we have nothing to lose. This is all on Roma. Roma have a squad to win the Europa League, and they should be making it at this group. So that's kind of what I'm hoping a little bit also and giving me the slimmest of hopes. The slimmest of hopes of getting any sort of result in Roma.
Yeah, sometimes these teams they feel it, and of course I
Mm.
have to bring in Bodo Glimt. And once they sense that there's a little bit of a weakness, and they're like, "We have nothing to lose," like you said, they find that motivation and they start to believe in themselves a little more. They play freer, they play without stress, and that's like ideally what you want as a footballer. So some of these teams can go into Rome without expectations and just play to their capabilities. But there is a player returning that I think might have something to say tomorrow. It's this guy, Nicolo Zaniolo. Moose says he's going to play, but I will say it again. He says it wasn't an easy injury for him. He wanted to be back as soon as possible. He worked really hard with the medical team, and now we have him. We thought we might see him last week. Last week? Oh my gosh. No, it was only Monday against Empoli. But Zaniolo's back. What are you feeling? Once you hear that, what goes through your mind?
Scared. Absolutely love Zaniolo. I think he's an absolute beast of a player, all rounded. I think he's got every quality to be a top player. The only thing going against him is just simply the injuries, and it's just horrible to see the amount of injuries he's had, the horrible injuries he's had. But he's a quality player. And obviously, there was all the rumors in the summer. Would he leave? Would he leave? I would have hoped that he would have stayed at Roma and maybe done something special with Mourinho. And look, I think him plus Dybala plus Tammy, that could be the best trio in Serie A. I think it simply can. I think it's better than what Juventus have. I think it's better than Inter have. And I think it's definitely better than what Milan have at the moment. So I love Zaniolo. I think he's going to cause us a lot of trouble with his pace, especially because Zaniolo is deceivingly quick. I don't think people realize that. He's deceivingly quick and very physical. So that can cause a little bit of a trouble to our center backs because in the Finnish league, there is no pace. It's a very tactical game here in Finland. We don't have the biggest physicality, but tactical is the main thing here in Finland. So a guy like Zaniolo, he can cause trouble to our center backs.
And he's large too. It's
Yep.
just not so typical for a winger. You mentioned a couple things there. He's the pace. He's unpredictable, and when you add that to a large frame, he becomes a problem, like a tough player to deal with. What would you say is like, where does Zaniolo need to grow? Because Michael does watch Serie A, and not being Roma biased, where do you see, like, if you could talk to Zaniolo and say, brother, you gotta do what?
I would say maybe his decision making. I think that's the main thing with him. I feel like, because he's so good at driving with the ball that maybe he's just at times rushing things. He's just got to play sometimes very simple football in a way. He just has to make it simple at times. Doesn't need to overthink it. Doesn't need to overrush it. But just play the simple passes. Make the simple decisions. I think Zaniolo has all the quality. It's just he just hasn't had the proper run in his career of like more than 20 games. It seems like he's always injured at the moment, and it's really really horrible to see because you kind of see the same tendencies you maybe with wasn't Batistuta back in the day really injury prone for Roma as well?
Yes, towards the end of his career, when he joined Roma and he won the Scudetto, he used to, I believe, take heavy pain relievers in order to be able to play.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case for Zaniolo because he's had 2 ACL tears, right? And then
Different
shoulder.
legs. One in the right, one in the left, and now the shoulder. So at least it's been different parts of his body. I look at a player like Pastore, and when you look at Pastore's injury record, it's the same injury over and over again. Why the hell would you buy that player? But
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, look, but 2 ACL tears, that's brutal. That's absolutely brutal to a footballer, especially for him who kind of uses his physicality and pace in a way for his, because he's so good. I absolutely love Zaniolo. I wish he just would stay healthy. That's the main thing for me.
I do too. And in today's press conference, I'm going to bring it up. Just going to run over to this. I had it up just a second ago. He had some interesting quotes today that I posted on Twitter, actually. Let me get this. Zaniolo. He says, "We know we can compete in every competition." That's the title here. But he had something to say against the journalists, and I really, really liked it. He says, I'm used to hearing about my future every year now, that I need to go there and to leave here. But then every time I always stay here. It's more of a drama that you guys create amongst yourself, amongst the media, rather than things I really think about. So on top of his injuries, he gets such negative press. I don't understand why Italian news outlets do not support him, why they don't lay off a little bit. You have this once in a generation talent, and instead of building him up and giving him space, they want him down, and it's frustrating.
It is.
As a Roma fan.
But that's Italian football media. They want the guy to be successful, but they just see that he isn't getting to that potential that he has, and maybe that's why they're so frustrated. The Italian football media, but also it's a brutal segment. Italian media is the football media, especially. Oh god.
Yeah.
Even though I don't understand any Italian, but just reading some quotes and then translating them to English, I'm like, wow, there's some crazy quotes.
Yeah, yes, there are. They sometimes they get into it. I noticed this because my background's Italian and I grew up in the States. Is that there is a level of comfort that Italians have with not getting in each other's faces, but going back and forth with one another, which is normal. So if a friend came over to my house and they're like, "Why are you and your mom? Why are you guys always yelling?" I'm like, "We're not yelling. We're just speaking." And there's such a difference culturally with that. So, but that's reality. It's a cultural difference. Um, so
It
he
is,
also
it is,
spoke
it is.
about
Compared to here in
Pellegrini.
Finland, we're all just quiet.
Is that a cultural trait? Is it more like sober?
Yes, very sober. Although when we start drinking, then that's when the real Finn comes out.
My word choice there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. It's the opposite, complete polar opposite of a culture as well as North versus South.
I think
Um,
it's because of our weather as well, because it is cold here and not very long days. We only get 5 hours of sunlight in the winter.
5 hours in the winter.
Yep,
What about in the summer?
almost 24. So
Oh
it's
my
beautiful.
gosh.
It's beautiful in the summer, but it's hell. It's hell. That's why maybe why we're called Helsinki. It is hell in the winter.
Do people really like party in the summer? Do they have it
Oh
all?
yes, oh yes, all the time. There's summer parties outside. We gotta enjoy it while we can because it's good for 2 months, and then it's back to winter coats, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. New Jersey is like that a little bit with going down the shore, but Montreal is very much like that.
Yeah, Montreal is. Yep, it is.
It's fun. Um, Man, I gotta get out there. But maybe we'll talk. I think on the next episode when you come back for either the post match or the second round
Yep.
against HJK, we'll talk a little bit more about Finland. Um, my last question here. Did I have a last question? Yeah. HJK's goals for the season. What would you say are they? I'm gonna guess it's to repeat as winning the championship, but talk to me a little bit about also what you mentioned about going into the Conference League and why the loss against Ludogorets with Roma was disappointing for you.
Yeah, so I'll first talk about our goals. Definitely, it's to repeat as champions. It's absolutely vital for us because we go into the Champions League qualifying rounds. No team goes into the Europa League. It's only Champions League qualifying rounds, and then 3 teams go to the Conference League qualifying rounds. So winning is the most important thing, and that's what HJK are built on: winning championships. Anything below is a complete and utter disaster. And we're actually, because here in Finland we only have 12 teams in the league, and then now we just ended our league, and now we're going to separate into 2 divisions. The top 6 play once against each other, and the bottom 6 play once against each other. It kind of helps with like more excitement at the end. So basically, the teams now that finish first and second, they will meet each other in the final match day. So it's kind of like a grand cup final. I think the Serie A introduced this as well, that if both teams are on the same points, I think then they would face off against each other like in a sort of playoff final. So we have
Yeah,
that. We have that here between
the City
here in
B they
Finland,
do
which is
that.
yeah, which is very exciting in my opinion. I think it adds a lot of excitement to the league, and we don't get a lot of numbers. I mean, like I look at obviously Serie A, Bundesliga, League On. I mean, the amount of spectators they get. Probably here we average 2,000 per game. That
Really,
it's
that's
just
it?
yeah, because ice hockey is the main sport here, so that's kind of the problem we face here in Finland. That ice hockey just runs everything, runs the media, runs everything. Football has always been the second sport and hasn't gotten the I think the great media coverage that it should. And then when it comes to Europe, I mean, like I said, I was disappointed in AS Roma losing to Ludogorets because we understand that we're only going to fight for third or fourth place. We understand it's Real Betis and AS Roma for first and second. And why it's important to get third place is then if we go to the third place, then we go to the Conference League knockout round, which then equates to more money for HJK, and that's the main thing for us. And also progressing far in Europe would be a major thing for us. We have never progressed out of the group in Europe, and we've been once in the Champions League in 98 99, where we finished third in the group, and then obviously in the Europa League in 14-15, where we played Torino, Club Brugge, and FC Copenhagen. We finished third. No, we finished fourth in that group as well. So, yeah, I just hope we can get third. But Ludogorets beating Roma, it makes it a whole lot difficult because I'm only looking at our 2 home games against Ludogorets and AS Roma to win those
Hmm.
to progress out of the group. That's all I can hope for because I don't think we're going to win any away games. Maybe Ludogorets, but that's about it.
I hope you do. I'd like to see you guys go out to Bulgaria and do it. It's funny, I didn't realize. I looked it up while you were chatting real quick. Finnish players in the NHL. There's a couple names I recognize here. Sebastian Aho from the
Yep.
Hurricanes. He's good,
Oh, he's
quality
very good.
player. Kapanen on the Penguins, and Capo Caco from my New York Rangers.
He hasn't reached the heights that he should have. He was sensational as a junior hockey player here.
Really,
He was all over the media at 17, 16. Oh my god! But
he was a
he
first
just has.
rounder.
Yeah, he was second round, second overall
Second round.
pick, second overall pick.
Oh, that's We need him to pan out in New York.
I know, and I know the New
I,
York media is not. They're not going to take that lightly if you're not
yeah,
playing well.
yeah. Not when you're a second pick from the first round. Um, man, it's awesome. I gotta check here if I have anything else for you. That's it, man. Guys, check out Michael Talks Football on YouTube,
Wayne,
and
what's
if
your
he's got
prediction for
time,
the game?
through ooh, 2-0. 2-0 Roma.
That's what I would say as well. I would say 2-0 AS Roma.
Yeah,
Uh, if we get 1-1, I'm going to party all night.
yeah. Let's see. It's you got nothing to lose. So
Exactly.
may the best team win.
And this is the most away fans we will ever take in Europe. Although we
Really?
took, because we went to Estonia once, but Estonia is only like a 45-minute boat ride. This is we're taking almost 300 fans away, which is amazing for our club. We
Wow.
don't. I know it sounds small to like AS Roma or Napoli or Inter, but for Hoiko, it's a lot of people. So we're super excited about the occasion.
That's cool. We have some. I don't get that feeling from HJK's fans, but like Feyenoord's fans came.
Lazio.
Shoot, yeah, they come and sometimes they destroy the city. I don't get that vibe from HJK's fans. Their ultras are not in the news. Who was it? Do you remember who Roma played them in the Europa League before it was called the Europa League, like in 2004? What was that? The team from England? Oh my gosh, not Fulham.
West Ham?
No.
Are they from
Roma.
London or
No,
or
they're Middlesbrough.
where are they from in
Middlesbrough.
England?
Middlesbrough. That was it.
Middlesbrough.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, they
Really?
came in
I would
really
not
really
expect that from their
destructive.
fans.
Yeah, big problems in the stands, lots of fighting, ruining like the fountains and stuff. And oh man,
No,
but
we're just
me,
we're
best
just
team win.
we're just here to enjoy the occasion and enjoy the Stadio Olimpico because my God,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to visit a Serie A game, but at least I'm gonna visit a Serie A stadium, and the Stadio Olimpico is one of the more famous football stadiums around the world.
And you said you're going to the game.
Yes, going to the game. My flight leaves in 6 hours.
Oh my gosh! So you're not going to go to bed,
Nope, I'm
guys?
staying up all night.
I'm keeping this poor guy up, and well,
Nah, I could sleep on the plane.
safe travels. What is it? 2.5 hours?
No, well, I had to take the cheap route because we only found out 2 weeks before, like when the game was gonna happen. So we got to go through Sweden and then Sweden to Italy. Yeah, so it's gonna be a long journey ahead.
Oh wow! Oh, please send some pictures.
I
Send me
will
some stuff. Take some
most
videos.
definitely, most definitely.
We'll have Michael for sure back then. Yeah, check out his page, guys. Thank you so much. Give it a like, subscribe to his page as well. Thank you.